I know exactly what you're thinking. Number one, how does someone craft the perfect tech resume? Well, I'm going to tell you. But number two, you also want to know how I quantified it. What makes it the perfect tech resume and how's it proved? So to understand that, there's two things you need to know about me. Number one, my name is Isak and I'm the founder of JuniorDeveloper.careers, which is the UK's #1 tech talent job board for entry-level talent in tech. Try saying that. What that means is I've helped hundreds of junior software developers break into the industry, but I've also helped many senior software engineers get better paying jobs. And number two, I'm a software engineer myself. So not only do I understand the hiring side of the industry and I work in the hiring side of the industry, but I also build software in my day job. Now I do lots of seminars, I do lots of talks, I have an online community, I have loads of people on my LinkedIn. I've been doing this for many, many years. And what I learned over those years is that there are 5 ingredients to craft the perfect tech resume. Let's get into the first one. Now, the most common mistake I see people making when trying to craft a resume, especially in tech, is that they don't do the research of the area of tech they are in or want to go into. That means that if you are a front-end developer with 5 years experience, 6 years experience, or 0 years experience, it doesn't matter. What you need to do is go to a few job descriptions on LinkedIn, on Indeed, on Monster Jobs, whatever it is, scroll through and start looking at all the keywords that are being used in the descriptions. Now, you may have heard about the big scary ATS, but I'm going to give you a hint here. Now, the way it works, when your resume goes through an ATS or when it goes through a recruiter, they look at the number of keywords related to the job that they're hiring for. Imagine for a second, a recruiter is hiring for a front-end developer. They have these keywords on their job description: React, HTML, CSS, responsive design, etc. They get your CV or resume. CV is for the UK, resume is for the USA. It's the same thing. They receive it, they say, okay, you've got all those skills, brilliant, or it goes through the machine. It picks up that this person is 100% a front-end developer based on those keywords. Now, how do you give yourself the best advantage here? So just remember, it's not just about the core keywords, it's about the ecosystem around it. Here's an example. You could put HTML, CSS, JavaScript and be the best front-end developer that's ever been. However, the second best front-end developer that's ever been comes along and he has HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React, Next.js, responsive design, web design. You see where I'm going with this? Those keywords, all of them, build an ecosystem of your skills and the tech that you're into. So when you go through the ATS or when the recruiter looks at it, they most definitely know that you are a front-end developer. So the first ingredient in crafting the perfect tech resume is studying the area of tech that you want to go into, going through the job descriptions, getting all those keywords together that are related to your area and making sure that they're in your resume. Now, the second ingredient to crafting this resume souffle is the layout. Now, the way you lay out your CV, the format that it takes is so important and people often misunderstand this. The worst thing that you can do is make it hard for a recruiter to see that you're relevant for the job. Software engineers are some of the most intelligent people I've ever met when it comes to writing code, but when it comes to write a CV or resume, they make it so complicated. A recruiter does not want to play Where's Wally, they just want to see that you've got the skills and the experience to back it up. So with the hundreds of tech resumes that I've helped write and reviewed, this format has worked every single time in helping people get more interviews and land more jobs. So at the top, you have your heading and contact section. It doesn't need to be fancy, you're delivering no value, just make sure that you've got your contact details. Number 2, your profile/summary. Now, people go too wild with this. It just needs to be a paragraph. It doesn't have to contain any soft skills. This is all about technical skills and personality. Number 3, you're going to put your skills. Again, this is technical skills and they need to be related with those keywords that we talked about in section 1. Number 4, your work experience. And number 5, it could be education and anything else after that. Now, why do we specifically use this layout, or why do I recommend it for everyone I work with? The main reason being is that when a recruiter opens up your resume, the first thing that they see before they have to scroll is your skills section, which shows that you have the skills for the job that you're applying for. The next thing they'll do is look at your profile section, which is just above the skills, remember, and they will see, oh, double down, this person really is a front-end developer, a back-end developer, and you've also put a little bit of personality in there, so they know a little bit about you, whether you speak 4 languages, whether you race a rally car, whether you watch Friends on the weekend and cover yourself in tomato jelly or something weird, I don't know. By the way, just so you know, I do offer one-to-one resume reviews. You can find the link down below in the description and the comments. By all means, you don't have to use that service. You can reach out to somebody else to do it for free, but I'd be doing myself a disservice if I didn't mention it. Okay, so we have covered in our ingredients to crafting the perfect resume. Number 1, which is studying job descriptions for the area that you're in and getting all those keywords so you can put them into your resume. Number 2 is the layout of your resume. We know that it's important to have our contact section. We need to have our profile, we need to have our skills, we need to have our work experience, and then we need to have our education and everything else. The third thing, the third ingredient for this wonderful resume souffle that we're cooking, possibly the most important, is the design of your resume. Lots of people try to do this creative thing where they have a double sort of column and they have the skills up here, this over here, and your profile over there, and there's like stars and bars and charts. Creativity works great for graphic designers. It is horrible for software engineers. If you are thinking about crafting a resume, please stay away from creative layouts. Remember my favorite acronym. If you've ever been to one of my events, one of my speaking events, you've ever been to one of my online tutorials, you will know my favorite acronym when it comes to writing a resume: KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. Have a really basic layout. It's gonna be boring. In fact, if you look at your resume and you say that is boring, 10 out of 10, you're on the right track. Okay, so we're cooking, we're getting somewhere. You've got a focused resume, you've got your keywords, you've got a great layout, you know how to lay it out and why we lay it out like that. You also know not to go super creative with your design. You know that it's all about simplicity. The fourth ingredient to crafting this perfect tech resume, which again, I told you I've proven it. You can check my LinkedIn for my reviews, people will tell you. So I'm gonna give you some top tips for your work experience section to make sure that you're doing it right. Number one, there should be a paragraph on top or a sentence or two. And a lot of people use this opportunity to tell the company, to tell the recruiter about the company that they work for. We don't care about the company, we care about your achievement. So what you need to do is take your biggest achievement at that company, something you delivered, something you did, and have that in the sentence. Don't explain to us what the company does. We can find that on Google. Tell us your biggest accomplishment there. And then what you need to do is follow that on with bullet points where you talk about the things that you actually did and the tech that you used. What do you need to do to make sure that this part comes across best? Two things. Number one, quantify. Number two, use action-orientated keywords. What do we mean by quantify? I built a piece of software which reduced outgoings by £50,000 a month. Amazing. I built a piece of software, I contributed to a piece of software, I delivered a piece of software which reduced man hours by 4 hours per week. I automated a file upload, saving 2 hours per week of agent time. What do we mean by action-orientated keywords? Delivered, managed, implemented. Words which show you are someone who takes initiative and delivers, not just someone who passively follows as a sheep. Okay, so there's one more ingredient to have this souffle of the perfect tech resume. What is it? Well, just before I tell you, I'd love to know in the comments if you found this useful so far. I'd love to know if you found a different layout to be more beneficial, to be better for you, and share it with the people down below who are going to be watching this video trying to gain more understanding. Okay, so number 5 is a top tip. There's nothing worse than receiving a resume of somebody which has not been proofread, which has spelling mistakes, which has bad font, which doesn't have equal font. It's such an easy fix. Now, this is not me trying to sell you a service. You can go on LinkedIn, you can find a recruiter, and most of them will do it for free. But what I recommend is that you go speak to friends and family. Once you finish your resume, even for senior developers who've been doing this for 10 years, silly mistakes can cost you a job. Ask some friends and family if they can read over it, if they can proofread it, check for typos, check for spelling mistakes. They obviously don't know whether it's going to be a relatable resume, whether it's going to be any good, but they can do the first pass to make sure you are not making silly mistakes. Like we mentioned, spelling mistakes, typos, and making sure that your font is all equal, making sure that you're using enough white space and it's not just a wall of text. These ingredients that I've spoken about today have helped hundreds of people directly from my LinkedIn and from my other socials gain more job interviews and land their perfect job.